everyone, welcome to our next hackathon session. And today we have the topic Visual UI Designers Speed Up Your Hackathon Project. And yeah, we have chosen this topic because the combination RapidClipse together with MicroStream allows you to build incredible fast database applications in record time. And everybody who wants to join the hackathon and build an amazing MicroStream project, yeah, can have an advantage if you use a beautiful or a great looking web UI. And with RapidClipse, you're able to build really awesome, great looking web UIs. And yeah, Christian will show us today how easy this is and how you can build up your database with MicroStream and build your graphic user interface with RapidClipse. Hi, Christian. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Great to have you tonight.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for joining.
So, hello and welcome to my next hackathon session with the topic Visual UI Design. As Marcus mentioned, I think, or I guess it's in some cases make a good UI design makes an application more worthy than. And I think that's a good improvement. Even you are not the best UI designer, but believe me, when you use RapidClipse, it's very easy to create good-looking UIs. I divided my presentation in two parts, but a little bit about me before. My name, I'm a project manager at the moment, Java developer for 12 years now, and since 2019 at MicroStream. And as I said, I divided it in two parts. The first part is a little introduction part about RapidClipse, about the IDE and the main focus of RapidClipse, and also the main areas of RapidClipse, and a small part of the data binding, because I guess it's the most important part. How to bind the data with the user interface. It's important to know how that works. And the second part is creating a UI from scratch, or creating a project from scratch. I'm going to start with creating the project using a theme. It's important because colors are very powerful. I want to display data. Before to display data, we have to import data to a MicroStream database. So after that, display data, then change the data in forms. Let's have a look a little bit to the validation within forms, introduction to the UI events you can create. And if we have enough time, I want to show you the newest feature of RapidClipse, the charts, and how easy they are to use. So, okay, let's start. What's RapidClipse? RapidClipse, basically, it's an Eclipse distribution, or can even install it as a plugin. But I would recommend to install RapidClipse as a standalone application beside your normal Eclipse, so it's easier to use, and you can decide what you can use. Sometimes it's a little bit slower when you use it as a plugin, but it's okay. The main focus is to keep the development of web application as simple as possible, but without using proprietary frameworks, and rather than industrial standards. And that's important because a lot of people ask us on our booth in the past, okay, when we use RapidClipse, is it like using drag and drop, and in the end I get crappy code, nobody can maintain it, and so on? And that's not the case. We only use industrial standards like Hibernate, JPA, like HTML with JavaScript, and of course Java. And that's really, really important to have clean code in the end, as simple as possible. And that's why we have a lot of tooling within our RapidClipse IDE, tooling to support the developer being more efficient. That's important to to have or to need less time and effort to creating business applications. And for that we use the first main area is the Hibernate area, or the the data provider area with especially Hibernate JPA mapping configuration. But this is not the topic for today. But the second area is our Vaadin UI builder, and I'm really proud of it, because I guess this is the best working UI builder on the market at the moment for Vaadin. And with our RapidClipse framework, we provide a really good framework for session handling or object lifecycle handling and so on. But for that, later more information. Let's talk a little bit the areas of a project. So you have, first of all, you have your project, and you will need a project configuration. And most of the Java developers would say, okay, project configuration, it's not that hard. It's very easy. If you have good tools, everybody can achieve that. But especially when you start to working with Java and you don't know anything about Maven or all the client server things, it's quite hard to create a project. And for that, this is one part and one area of RapidClipse to create a good working project base, the project configuration. Of course, as I mentioned, we need a good user interface. This is the second area. And especially for web application, it's important to take care about the client-server communication, because we have a part it's on the server, and also we have a part that's on the client. And so we have to take care about the communication between those parts. We also need a data model, in the end, entities, and someone has to fill these data model, and we use data provider. These are, I think that's the main areas of a project. So let's see what RapidClipse can do for us. First of all, we start with a normal RapidClipse tooling. And this tooling takes care about creating a project, doing all that Maven configuration stuff, doing all the project configuration, and also dependency handling. It sounds really simple, but it isn't. Believe me, it's very hard to understand how to create a good working project. The second part, and I guess the most important part, is the data provider part. On the left side, we have different data provider. You can use Hibernate, for example, especially for using MySQL or relational databases. But you can also use MicroStream or any REST API you want. It depends on the data model, and if you have proper entities, then you don't have any problems with all the other modules like tooling or the user interface. And what RapidClipse does is it creates a data model for us, especially with Hibernate. You will be able to import your database tables to the project, and you will get really good configured entities. It provides tooling for data binding, of course, and you will get first-class Java code, which should be written anyway, and so it's not a crappy code in the end. The third part is the Vaadin part, and even Vaadin is a really great framework to creating HTML and JavaScript client-side user interfaces by writing Java code in the end. So it's the development remembers a little bit like the Swing development or the Java FX development. You create your user interface like on a fat client, but in the end, you will get HTML and JavaScript sites on the client. And but even this technology is such a powerful framework. Creating UIs without any UI builder is a quite hard work. So it's better to have a kind of like a what you see is what you get editor to help you to create proper UIs. And in the end, you will get native Vaadin code. That's also important because we don't need any third-party dependencies in that code. So it's native Vaadin code. With CSS support, so you can see your CSS properties directly or your colors directly in the editor. And yeah, you can. We have another tooling for data binding and navigation and so on, and a lot more. The important thing of that 3 areas is that all 3 areas are independent to each other. So if you don't want to create your user interface with Vaadin, you can just use the left side, the REST API or MicroStream or Hibernate, all the tools for that, and add your own user interface implementation. That's up to you. And only if you want to create Vaadin UIs, create it and use it with your own data provider stuff, for example. That's important. So you can use whatever you want, and they all that 3 parts are totally independent. Okay, a lot promises. So now I think it's time to bring the evidences for that. So I will switch to my Java IDE. Okay, here we are. Can you see the IDE? Oh, I can see the chat. One moment, please. So where is the chat? Okay, it doesn't matter. Please, Marcus, can you take care about the chat? Maybe if there are some questions, you can ask or you can answer them for me. Okay, I promised you I'm going to create a project from scratch. And you know Murphy's Law, I create a project at first. So if something went wrong, I can use this project. This is totally done. So, but now let's create a new one. I will call it UI Builder Demo 2. And in this example, I will use the new implemented app layout. In the end, it will look like this. So you have something like a how to say, a navigation bar on the left side. So it looks, in total, it looks like this. So we add a name, we choose app layout, and we click on finish. And now RapidClipse do all the stuff in the background, creating classes, doing all that configuration stuff for the project. And in the end, we are ready to go to start the project. Okay, this is the project. Now let's start the project. And let's see if it's working. Oh, where is my moment? Okay, here we are. And use UI Builder Demo 2. And here it is. This is the ready to go application. So it needs 2 minutes to create such a great application. You can see the sidebar here, the navigation sidebar. We have there is a possibility to use this, like yeah, how to say, the some responsive behavior. Okay, but I don't like the color, so I want to change the theming for that application. I like the darker theme more than the white one. So how to change that? First of all, we go to the Lumo theme editor. This is a homepage, and you can choose different themes with different colors, and also a dark theme, and also with different colors. And in the end, when you finished your design, you click on download, then you will get all the code you have to copy to a project to use the same theme in your application. And I prepared this a little bit earlier. So in that project, I already created that code, and I created a class named, or I created a folder named style here. and also a file named shared styles. And here is that code. And let's do it like this. I copy the code from my project and go to this one, go to the front end, create a package. Let's call it styles. And in that styles folder, I will create a new file. And I call this file shared styles.html. Finish. Okay. Let's paste the code I copied earlier to the shared styles HTML. And that's it. Now the application have to know that this class should be used as a theme. And let's go to the UI. And there is one class. One moment, I think that's better. So, and now we have one class is our main class. This is the main layout. And this main layout takes care about to open the different screens. And we have to add some line of codes here above. First of all, we have to add the theming part. And I copy that line from I've prepared. This is the first part. So we do an HTML import and say, okay, application, use that shared styles HTML in my project. And that's all. And I know that this theme is based on the dark theme of Vaadin. So I need to set the dark theme as default. So I need a second line here and say theme, import theme, and I want to use the Lumo theme. One moment, let's do it like this. Okay, now my application knows that he should use the dark theme, and it should also use the shared styles HTML file. Okay, let's see if it's work. Let's start. Now it should be darker than before. Hopefully. Let's open the file. Oh, where's my browser? Here it is. Okay, this is the old one. It's better looking. Dark theme and some nice color here, and it works. And I've changed the theme. And I would recommend this way to first to design a good looking user interface, and after that you can do some smaller things on different places. But please use a whole theme to fix these colors for your whole application. So that's nothing. It's really. How to say? You should not have different views with different colors. That's not good in the end. Okay, now let's now we have a UI. So we need also data for that. So let's go to the MicroStream part. I need a data provider, and for that reason, I choose a new install a data source into an existing project. And in this case, I don't want to use JPA. I use MicroStream, click on next, say finish, and everything is done like magic. MicroStream creates automatically a package called MicroStream here, and also two classes, the two most important classes. The first class is the MicroStream storage manager, and also I would say the most important class of the whole storage. This class contains the reference to the storage manager. We would need all the time to store things. And the second class is the root class, and this is the start of my storage of my object graph. So, okay, next we need, we added MicroStream, and next we need some classes and methods. And first of all, we need our first entity. And for this reason, I copy the entity from my first project. And this is a normal customer object. Let's copy this to my second project. First of all, I create a new folder or a new package, and I call this package domain. And I paste that customer to that domain package. Let's see what's inside. It's a normal flat Java Pojo, I would say. And we have 6 attributes here: ID, last name, first name, mail, gender, and IP address. Quite common attributes, nothing special. We don't need any annotation or something else like with Hibernate. So just a flat Pojo. That's enough. Further, we need some yeah, like a data part. So I created a mockup file. I called it mockup data.json. It's a JSON file, and this JSON file contains a lot of data, around 1,000 rows of data. So I will copy that mockup data and I create another package here, and I call it mockup. And I paste that mockup file to that package. Oh no. Ah, here it is. Okay, let's open that mockup JSON file. And here you can see around 1,000 rows of data in the JSON format. And to import these is not part of the presentation. And that's why I just copy the 2 methods I need from the second project. Let's say, no, it's not in the main layout. Sorry. It's, oh, doch, yes, it's in the main layout. So let's see. I created 2, or isn't it? No, it isn't. It's the home view, I think. Yeah. Where they are. 2 methods, this one. Yeah, these 2 methods are necessary. And let's go to my class, and I will also use the home view for that. And I also want to copy the 2 methods inside. And I need another part of the other project, UI home view, this small part here. This is all about to import the JSON file and creating Java objects. So nothing special or nothing interested to our presentation. Okay, so when we want to, now we're here on the UI, on the first UI. This is the home view, the first view. And first of all, I delete the label. And we will need a button on top here. So I add a horizontal layout first. And inside that horizontal layout, I add a button. And let's say the horizontal layout should only be as high as the button inside. So I remove the high from the button and stretch the layout because I need a space for a second component. But inside this button, I create a button click event. This is made by, you can do it like right click, events, click, and on click. Or you can do it the fast way, just do a double click on the component and you will get automatically an on click event on that component. And this is the part I add the code. I copy it. So yeah, we need those customers. So we need a collection here. Let's say it was a private set of customers. Customer, I call it customers, is new hash set customer. And that's it. So now everything seems fine. We need a label on top or beside that button. Let's add a label just to be sure the data is imported. And let's set the caption of that button, import from JSON. Okay, let's save. Let's see, that seems good. No more mistake or no more errors here in that class. Everything is fine. Now let's enable the JRebel tool that makes it easier to refresh the running application for you and for the presentation. So I'm going to start the application. Oh, it's already running. So let's restart. Okay, now you see JRebel is working and it will automatically update the application when I change the code. So now you can see the page we added, and I can click on import from JSON. Let's have a look. I make it a little bit smaller here. So everything should be fine. And as you can see here, around 1,000 customers are imported. I can show you the code again. This code here does the import. And in the end, I say label set text. This is the size of the collection where the customers are into and customer or customers are imported. Okay, that's fine. The next part is we need another two buttons. So I do it the next layout here, add one button and the second one, and also bring the high of the container to the button high inside. I stretch the container, and let's say this button is important because we store the data to our MicroStream data source. Because I imported that data here, but it's not stored. It's only in that collection inside the class. So we need to store the data. And I need the second one to say, show in grid. So show all these rows inside that grid. And of course, I will need a grid under those two buttons. Here it is. Okay. The grid has to know which type of data should be inside or should be view. And for that reason, I will take my customer object and add it with drag and drop. This is the part of the data binding. Add it to that grid. And some wizard will occur, and now I can decide which attributes of the Pojo should be shown in the grid. And I would say, okay, let's take, the ID would be great. Then next, the first name, last name, male, gender should be a little bit early, so I can change the sort. ID, gender, first name, last name, male, and in the end, the IP address. And I can do a lot of more things. For example, when we need proper header captions, you can enter gender or first name. You can decide if this column should be frozen, especially when you resize the window. Some columns could be frozen at the left or right side. If this column should be resizable, sortable, and so on. But I would say, let's say, okay, the size of the column is very important. The ID should not be grown; it should be 0. Auto width means the column will be as the size of the column will be as like the longest word in the column. Auto width, gender. We don't need this for gender. First name, last name, male, it's okay. And let's do it like this and say auto width. We can also use adjust the alignment of some things. Let's say ID alignment center and IP address, for example, align in the end. And that's it. This is the configuration for my data model. Okay.
Christian, we have a question from a chat.
Oh, okay.
And the question is about the login view screen. That it's possible to use LDAP or JPA only. How can I use MicroStream for the login view or related to the login view?
The whole configuration is based on interfaces. So there are two important interfaces you have to implement in your own classes, and within your own class, then you can write your own code for your login stuff. And so you can use these classes the same way, like the JPA way we do. So that's important. Everything is based on interfaces, so you can implement your own logic for that. You can send me a mail. I have some examples for that. I will answer that. Please send me a mail. It's easy. It's not that difficult. Okay, let's take care about how to store the data. Now we have load the data, and let's store it first. For this reason, I used my MicroStream class. So I call MicroStream dot root. Give me the root and give me. Oh, I forgot something. So I created that customer, but I don't add that customer to my data root. That's important. So let's create a collection of customers here inside. Let's say set of customer. Set of customer. Let's say this is private, and these are my customers. New hash set. Come on. That's it. Great. Let's say customers or customer. Let's create a getter and setter for that, or only get is necessary in this case. Okay, now I have my customers inside my root object as a collection. Let's see the right one. I will close that. So, okay, to prevent some mistakes. Okay, here we are. As I said, MicroStream dot give me the root, give me the customers, and add all. And now I add all my customers here inside that collection. Let's say these are my customers. Add all, I would say, like this. So these customers are these customers here. And on that import, as you can see here, I filled up the customers with the one from the JSON file. So, and now I have to store that. Say MicroStream, give me the storage manager, and say store. And I want to store these collection of customers because I have changed this. And that's it. So all the data goes to the database. Show in grid, also important. I want to show the data, and that's also easy. I say grid set items and go to the MicroStream, give me the root, and give me the customers. Very easy. That's it. So let's have a look to the application. Here we are. Let's do a refresh. Okay, let's start with import. 1,000 rows are imported. Now I'm going to store the data. That's it. And now I want to show the data in the grid. Very easy. In some cases, people want to make the grid a little bit more beautiful with row stripes, for example. So every even row will be marked with a different color. So let's see. Let's say refresh, show in the grid. Looks better. So this is the part where we show data. And as you can see here, it's all about the customer entity. It doesn't matter what kind of data source is behind or which data provider is behind the entity. You only need a normal Java Pojo, a normal customer, and you can fill every user every component with that normal Java Pojo. And that's what I said. It's totally independent from each other. Okay, now let's try to edit this data. I want to create a form to load the data into and edit it. I use the custom entity again, drag and drop it on the UI, and another wizard occurs. And now I can decide which field I want to edit. And I want to choose all except the ID. And I would say necessary or mandatory fields are the gender, the last name, and male. Or let's say, yeah, gender, last name, and male are mandatory. I used a binder object to bind these two parts together, the object and the form. Let's say okay. And now, as you can see here, a form is created. I need a button to save that stuff, and I want to show that this button a little bit more popular, but save and I would say refresh grid. And let's make this button a little bit more highlighted. Okay, now we need two events. The first event is when I click on or when I select a row in the grid. So let's choose the selection event of the grid. I have to take care of what happens if no row is selected. So I used an if. Oh, no. So if. Let's use the event object get first selected item dot is present. So I'm able to use that is present method because the get first selected item returns an optional object. So, and when it's present, I would say event dot get first selected item. That's all, or dot get. And I will use a field to store the selected selected customer into it, and I would say it's called selected customer. So and now what to do with that selected customer? Can you remember the binder? Now I use that. I say binder dot read bean. So that means read the values from the bean and add the values to the form and selected customer. That's all. Let's have a look to the application. Simply do a refresh. Here you can see the form, and even when we make the form smaller, you can see it's also a great working solution with the responsible things. So show the data in the grid, and now we are able to select the data here, and it will fill automatically to that form below the table. Now let's take care about the save. We need another event. Double click on that button and say, okay, let's use the binder to, we first have to take care if the data is valid. So let's say if binder dot validate. So that means binder do that validation stuff. And if it's okay, then do the things inside the if. What to do? Let's say binder dot write bean. So write the data back to the object and write it back to select customer. And in the end, we would say MicroStream, give me the storage manager and store selected customer, of course, because we have changed the customer, so we have to store it. We have to surround this with a try catch. So let's move the lines inside the try catch. And also we have to do the refresh stuff of the grid. So let's say grid.getDataProvider.refresh. Refresh that item, selected customer. That's all. Really less line of codes. Most of the things are automatically generated. Let's have a look to the application. Let's do the refresh. Load data, select one. What to jail? Let's make a female with the name Richard. And here you can see the change. Very easy, very powerful framework. That's really great. It don't need a lot of time to generate such a beautiful application from scratch. I promised you, let's check if the validation is working. So we said that last name, I guess, was a mandatory field. So let's delete it. Let's see what happened if I try to save. And as you can see here, you have now this component is red. You will be able to change the color also. It's a little bit too dark in this case, but that doesn't matter for the presentation. Okay, any question so far?
We have a question from the chat. What's the difference between the set and the read method, the binder set bean and the binder read bean?
Yes, there is. Let me explain that. When you use when you use the set bean method instead of read bean, then you will add a copy of selected customer inside the binder. So that means the binder stores the reference for you, and the important thing is when you change the value of the field inside the form, also the bean will be automatically updated. So when you use set bean here, you will no longer need this line of code. But in some cases, I don't like that way. So I want to decide when to write the information back to the object. So I would recommend to use write instead of set bean. So, but it's a feature. You can also use set, but you have to deal with the disadvantages or advantages. It's up to you. Is that okay, this explanation?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I promised you, I want to show you a small example of our charts. I will do that on the second page, on the picture page here. So we can close this and use the picture view. Okay, we don't have any charts here in the palette, so we have to add the dependency. You will get the dependency from our homepage. Let's open that RapidClipse things. Where is it? RapidClipse documentation. Let's. Oh no, this is the wrong one. RapidClipse X documentation. Go to graphical user interface, to charts, and here you can see the dependencies, the Maven dependencies. So I will copy that, and let's copy that to our POM XML. Let's go down to the dependency part and paste it. Save the application. You can see the application will be built automatically, and now we have to restart the application, but when we now changed, you will see the charts here inside that palette. So now we are able to add the charts to the user interface. So let's say, for example, a bar chart would be great, and another one, table chart. No, what is a nice one? Oh yeah, let's use a simple one, the pie chart. Okay, so let's make these both charts as great as they can. So let's stretch both. Okay, now you will be able to query data, of course, and add that data information stuff to the charts. But in I would use a simple way that we provided some sample data to do some experimental things. Let's say a bar chart, and every chart has the method called like set, where is it? Set. I can. One moment, please. So, what's wrong? One moment, please. Let's have a look to my first project. I forgot the code. Show sample data. It's quite easy. Okay, and I could do the same on the pie chart. Show sample data. If you want to know how to add your own data to this, you can use the content of that sample data method. And this is a small example how to provide your own values to that chart. Now let's start the application again. Here we are. And here you can see the charts looking great. Also, a very small, just a small preview of what's possible with these charts. There are tons of more properties within the charts, and these charts are also interactive. You can register events on that. So click here and do some event stuff in the background and so on. It's a lot of possibilities of the charts. A really great framework. This is an implementation of the Google charts, and they have very powerful charts in the end. Okay, that's all from my side. I could talk about RapidClipse and the UI builder and so on way more hours, but I think that's enough for today. Feel free to answer more questions. I will do my best to answer them. So it's on you. So I tried to see the chat. So where's my? So this is totally crazy. I'm not able to see the, here it is. More chat. Okay.
Yeah, there are currently no questions from the chat.
Okay.
We have some time left. So do we have something to show, or should we? Here's a question from Frank.
Okay.
Do you see the question?
If you have two objects, object trees and two leaves are connected. So that means, for example, an order has positions, right? Or a customer has, or a company has many employees, for example. Is that right? Okay, that's also quite easy, because so I'm not prepared for that, but I will give you a short explanation. how to achieve this. We have the customer entity here, and I'm able to add a second one. So let's create, for example, let's say a new Java class, and I would say let's call it company, for example, company. Okay, we need, of course, we need a company name, private. This is also a string, say name. We need get and set methods for that. Okay, that's enough, I think. So now we can add that customer or that company object as a sub object of the customer. So I will add private company, and I would say this is the name, company. I will also need get and set methods for that. Okay, that's it. Now we're good to go. So I'm no longer able to import the data now because I changed the data model, but just for explanation, I think it's enough. So let's have a look to the picture, or not, to the home view. Where is it? No. Oh, wait a moment. I changed the, I did a mistake, I guess. No, everything is fine. Or isn't it? Oh. So one moment. Oh, I can do it in this application also. So, okay, we added the company. So let's go to the home view. And so it doesn't matter if we have a collection of a collection of entities inside that customer, or we have just one entity inside. When I select, we were able to add, one moment, we were all able to add, let's say, okay, let's do a company, another binder object here based on the company entity. This is just a small binder, but when I click on event selection change, I can extend this. I would say binder read bean selected customer, and I could also say this dot binder to dot read bean, and now I will take the selected customer dot get company. This is quite easy. That's like the object-oriented way works. And now when I select the selected customer, also the binder here will be filled. I think that's very easy, and this is quite straightforward to understand. Okay, with products and customers to demand sub and reference to the project. Maybe you mentioned the tree. There is also a tree component. I think you have to check the Vaadin documentation for that. We don't provide the tree as a component itself, because in most cases the tree is filled automatically in the background. So it makes no sense to add the tree as a component on the UI, because as I said, in the most cases you have to define the way to fill the tree in the background in the Java code. So it's much better to add the tree inside the constructor of the class or of the window. How can I send a select command to MicroStream? That's easy. We don't have no selects. We don't have any selects anymore. So we use the Java streaming or the Java Streams API to get specific data back. For example, I would add a new button here. No. So one moment. Okay, let's define our select. So we have a list or a collection of customers inside the MicroStream database. So I say MicroStream dot give me the root, get the customers, and now I started to use the Streams API. For example, Stream or Parallel Stream. You can also use Parallel Stream filter, and then I would say this is a lambda expression c dot get first name dot equals, or let's do it with the gender. Get gender dot equals, for example, female, like this. And the streaming or the Streams API is such as powerful as SQL for sure. Let's say collect, and let's do collectors to list or to set. It doesn't matter in that case. That's it. And this statement returns a collection of customers. And this is the way to do selects with MicroStream. There is a second question. Is it possible to create entities with MicroStream via entity editor? Basically, yes, but in the end, we have to delete a lot of informations. Primarily, the entity editor is made for Hibernate, and so it will create all the annotation stuff on top of that methods and attributes and so on. So I would say it's much more easier and faster to use the normal Java class approach to create entities for MicroStream instead of using the entity editor. Yeah, as Frank, that's right. There is a tree grid. I would use this tree grid. I would recommend to read the Vaadin documentation to get further information to that tree grid. I don't like a tree, to be honest. So Marcus, I'm finished, so to say.
Thank you, Christian, for your great presentation. Well done. So we have some recorded sessions from Florian and Christian, and so a lot of interesting talks on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining, and see you